All right, here we go. So 4.8 day one, we're graphing quadratics, right? So parabolas, but inequalities, which is why we're going to shade. All right. So here are your steps to graphing quadratic inequalities. It's pretty much the same steps as we've had before, which is graphing inequalities, like linear inequalities. You graph the graph. You make sure you remember solid or dashed. Please don't forget that. Everybody always forgets that. All right, solid or dashed. And then there's different ways to decide where to shade. You can either test a point, or you can do my method, which is, if it's greater than, you want the part that catches the top of the y-axis. If it's less than, you want to shade the part that captures the bottom of the y-axis. All right, so I think that way is a little simpler and less room for careless mistakes. All right, so let me just jump in and show you guys. So number one, I want to graph this inequality. And let me just go ahead and ask anybody in the class, what do we need to do first to be able to graph this parabola? What do we need to find? Anyone?
The vertex.
Ooh, yeah, nice, Ethan. The vertex. Okay, so let's find the vertex first. And to find the vertex, all right, I'll just go in and write that. That's what I'm trying to find. We had a formula, all right? And it's to find the x-coordinate of the vertex. Does anybody remember what that formula was? Anyone? I'll give you a hint. It's actually part of the quadratic formula. If you take out the plus or minus, you take out the root, b squared minus 4ac, what are you left with? Quadratic formula? Did you guys forget already?
Is it negative b squared over 2a?
Negative b over 2a. All right, there we go, Mateo. So negative b over 2a. Yeah. So that is basically the part of your quadratic formula, except the plus or minus and the square root. Okay, so that's maybe an easy way to remember that formula, negative b over 2a. All right, so let's plug in. So we get negative 8 over 2 times a, which is 1. So that gets me 4. All right, so my x-coordinate is 4 for the vertex. To find the y-coordinate, what do I need to do with that 4?
Plug it in.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, plug it in and you can find the y-coordinate. So plug in 4. All right, and then simplify. All right, and I believe that simplifies down to 1. Okay, so our vertex is going to be 4, 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 on my graph and up 1 to find the vertex. All right, now look at your A here. Your A is equal to 1. So that means I'm going to go up 1, up 3, up 5. Okay, so up 1, up 3, and then I run out of room. Okay. Be careful here, guys. I noticed that some of you guys are doing up 1, up 3, up 5, even if A is not equal to 1. Be careful, okay? Hypothetically, if A was equal to 2, I would go up 2, right? Up 6, and then up 10. So you need to multiply 1, 3, 5 by whatever A is. Okay, so be careful, don't always go 1, 3, 5. It's those numbers times a. All right, but in this case, since a is 1, we'll go up 1, 3, and 5. All right, does that make sense? Any questions about that? Okay, so now this is where most people will just start graphing their parabola and be like, yay, got my parabola. That is wrong. Can somebody tell me why?
It has to be dashed.
Thank you, Mateo. Yes, it needs to be dashed. Okay, so this inequality, there's no equal sign, so it needs to be dashed. All right. Even if you guys like forget on the quiz and you made a solid line, what you can do is you can just say, oops, should be dashed. And I'll give you full credit. So instead of like erasing it and like, you know, or you can draw an arrow and say dashed just to make it super clear. That's okay too. Okay. All right. So now we have two possible regions and I'll shade both of them for now. Okay. I have, you know, this outside region of the parabola would be this part. And then the inside region of the parabola is this part. So now the question is, which one do you think I'm going to keep for greater than? The inside of the parabola or the outside of the parabola? What do you guys think? The yellow or the green for greater than? What makes more sense to you?
The yellow part.
Yeah, good. The yellow part. So I definitely want to keep the yellow part. So the reason why is because, again, greater than, right? I want the top of my y-axis. Well, you might think, wait, doesn't the green part include the top of the y-axis? Technically, no, because if you were to extend this, right, and it keeps on going, this top of the y-axis is actually inside the parabola. And I think it's just more clear that the bottom of the y-axis is definitely outside the parabola, right? So you definitely do not want to shade the outside of the parabola because that has the bottom of the y-axis and we don't want that. We want y to be big. So we want the inside. All right, and that's the answer for number 1. Any questions? Cool. All right, let me go ahead and have you guys help me with number 2 then. All right, so number 2, this is, let me erase this. Give me a little more space. Ooh, it's not letting me erase. Okay. Okay, number 2, help me with my first step, please. Let me call on Liam. All right, Liam, help me with that first step. You got it. You got it.
You got to put it into like the negative b over 2a.
Good. What does that do when you do the negative b over 2a?
It gets the vertex.
Good. All right. So Liam, help me do that. Negative b over 2a, what do I get? Like what's b?
That's negative 3.
Oh, okay. So you get negative 6 over 2 times 1, which is negative.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Perfect. No, yeah, you were just too quick for me. All right. Good job. Okay, let's go to Angie for the next one. What do I do next?
Then you plug in negative 3 into y equals x squared plus 6x plus 4.
Good. Okay, help me simplify, Angie.
negative 3 squared would be 9,
Mhm.
and then minus 18 plus
Good
4.
Yes. All right. And all that will equal to?
Oh, negative 5.
Perfect. Yes. So that is our vertex. Negative 3, negative 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. All right, and that's our vertex. Okay, Riley, help me out from here. To graph, first off, what is the value of A?
1.
Good. So since A is 1, tell me how to graph from that vertex. I'm going to go up how much?
1.
Uh-huh. And then next one, I would go up by?
3.
Uh-huh. So 1,
And
2,
5.
and then 5. Awesome. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I just make it. And here's a quick double check. Look at that y-intercept of 4. And look, we just have a y-intercept. We found a 4. So that kind of like is a, reassurance that you are graphing it correctly. You can double check that y-intercept. Okay, from there, let's see, Sebastian. Before I graph, what do I have to remember?
Is the line dashed? Wait, no.
Uh-huh. Is it solid or dash? So what do you think?
It's solid.
Good. And why?
It's less than or equal to being the deciding factor.
Ooh, great explanation. Nice. All right. So there is my solid graph. Okay. So now the question is, do we shade inside the parabola or outside the parabola? I'll let you guys think about it. And let me ask Chris Rowe, what do you think? Inside or outside the parabola? Which way should we shade, Chris?
You should shade inside
And why?
because of the greater than or equal to.
Okay, good. So you're looking at the less than or equal to. So it's less than.
Yes.
So do I want the top or the bottom of the y-axis? If it's less than, do I want big values of y or small values of y?
You want big values?
Well, if y is less than, don't I want small values of y?
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
I want y to be less than all these numbers. So smaller values of y would be less than all these.
Okay.
So
Right.
if I want, then I want which part of the y-axis, the top or bottom?
Okay. You repeat the question?
Oh yeah. So since I want small values of y, do I want the top of the y-axis or the bottom of the y-axis?
I'm not sure. Maybe the top.
Well, when you go up the y-axis, do values get bigger or smaller?
Values get bigger.
Okay, so do I want big values of y or do I want small values of y?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, we have less than, right? So didn't we say we want small values of y?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so since we want small values of y, we want the bottom of the y-axis because that's where all those negative, like negative 10, negative 11, negative 12, all those really, really, really small values of y are at the bottom of the y-axis. So I want to shade the outside because that is where the bottom of the y-axis is. Does that make a little more sense, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So yeah, just think, if it's less than, you want the bottom of the y-axis. If it's greater than, you want the top of the y-axis. Okay? Or an easier way, if you guys want to just like shortcut straight to the point, if it's less than, shade outside the parabola. If it's, actually, it's only if it's facing up. Okay, so this is, I don't want to make this more confusing because you want to shade inside if it's facing up. But if it's facing down, like if you have a down parabola, then it's like the opposite. So I don't know if this is the greatest way to kind of try to remember it because I feel like it gets confusing. I just like to think, do I want big values of y or small values of y? And then pick the part of the graph that contains the top and bottom or bottom of the y-axis. I think that's the easier way to remember it. Okay. All right, cool. Good job, Chris. Thank you. All right, let's go to our last example for today. It's a quick lesson today. 3 examples only. All right, this one's a little bit different, guys. This one, they give you the graph and then you have to write the inequality. Ooh, so they switch it up on you. All right, so write the quadratic inequality for this graph. Okay, so let's brainstorm a little bit. We want to write the quadratic inequality, which means we want basically like a final answer that looks like how the problem started in numbers 1 and 2, right? That's going to be kind of what our answer looks like at the end, since we're going backwards. Okay, so I know I'm going to have some sort of, like y to start with. Okay, let's pick our inequality. Is it going to be, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to? Those are our 4 choices. So what is it definitely not going to be? What do you guys think? Like out of like the 4, we can probably eliminate 2 of them right off the bat. Which one can we eliminate right off the bat?
The ones that don't have the line under.
Yes, good. We can eliminate these 2 because they do not have the equal to. And like Sebastian said, right, if it's solid, it needs to have the equal to. So definitely not that. Okay, now I need to think greater than, equal to, or less than or equal to. Which one of those 2 do you guys think? Remember, think about how we did these problems, right? We shaded the inside because it was greater than, because it had the top of the y-axis. This one, we shaded outside because it contained the bottom of the y-axis, right? So this graph, does it have the top or bottom of the y-axis? Does that shaded part have the top or bottom of the y-axis? Are you guys looking? Does that shaded part have the top or bottom of the y-axis? Okay, I'll call on people then. All right.
The top?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, wait, what? The top? Where's the top of the y-axis?
I'm not sure.
All right, so this is the y-axis.
I just guessed.
Okay, well, I'm glad you at least tried. So this is the y-axis right here. This is the top. This is the bottom. So here's the top. Here's the bottom. Okay. Does that make sense when I say the top and the bottom?
Definitely the bottom.
Okay, definitely the bottom. Okay, thank you. Do you guys see that, right? The shaded part has the bottom of the y-axis. It does not have the top of the y-axis. Okay, so because of that, which inequality should I pick if it has the bottom of the y-axis?
Is it less than equal to?
Good, yes. All right, less than or equal to is my inequality. Okay, everybody cool with that? Everyone's good? Questions? Okay, let's actually get into the, oh, I can't, how do I get rid of this? All right, I can't erase. Okay, let me go to the side here. Okay, pretend I'm gonna move this over, give myself some room. All right, now I need to set up the rest, right? Ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, so I need to find out like what a is. I need to find out what b is. I need to find out what c is. Okay, so this one's a little bit tougher, right? It's not super clear just by looking at the graph what a, b, and c are. So I think what's probably helpful is the fact that we know the vertex, right? And since we know the vertex right here of -2, 36, I'm actually going to use the vertex form of my quadratic. So I'm going to use this form where it was a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. You guys remember that vertex form? Yeah? All right, so with that vertex form, it's a lot easier to just plug in that vertex. So my vertex is -2. So x minus -2 squared plus k is 36. Okay? Questions up to there? All right then. So now I simplify that to be x plus 2 squared plus 36. Okay, now I am almost done. What do I still need to figure out? What do I still need?
A.
Good. Thank you, Yanni. Great participation. So we have A, we still need to figure out. Now, here's the thing. If you only have that one variable to figure out, what you can do is you can pick any point you know that's on this parabola and just plug it in and solve for A. So I'll pick this point for 0, just because low numbers, a little easier to handle. So I'm going to plug in 0 for y. I'm going to plug in 4 for x. And I'm going to solve for a. Notice I'm just doing the equal sign because it's like right on the parabola. All right, so this is going to be 6 squared plus 36, which is 36a plus 36. So -36 is equal to 36a, which means a is equal to -1. All right, any questions on that step? All right, then we are almost done. We can just now plug in that a right here. So we get y is less than or equal to -1, x plus 2 squared plus 36. And it doesn't specify standard form, so we can leave it like this. Or if they do say standard form, all you have to do is multiply it out. And that would be it in standard form. All right. Question. So this is standard form, and this one is vertex form. Okay, questions on that one?